Hello folks, and welcome to our channel. I'm Brent with Hammer Armament, and today we're going to dig into OWB holster attachments that we use on our competitive, tactical, and range use gear. Stick around. This is part one of a two-part series on attachments, with part two going over mag pouch attachments. So let's get started with holster mounts. There are four attachment options that we offer on our holsters: the Bladetech Tek Lok, Safariland QLS, G-Code RTI, and our competition drop offset mount. Today we'll go over each of these as well as one that we no longer use. Let's start with one of my favorites, the Tek Lok. The Bladetech Tek Loks are a one-piece hinge device made from injection molded plastic, which is very strong and versatile. These can also be used for mag pouches, knife sheaths, and shot shell carriers. There are 9 evenly spaced mounting holes, so they fit a variety of mounting hole patterns, and are adjusted for belt sizes from 1.25" all the way up to 2 inch. This is great because they can be easily swapped between almost any belt, whereas other mounting options don't quite have that versatility. To close them, simply close the hinge around your belt and rotate the lock into place. This is very secure. One issue that we have come across in the past is that over time, the lock can break on its hinge. But the design of this mount is smart and secure enough that even if this hinge breaks, the mount will still stay securely closed. These are the most cost-effective mounts as well as the most versatile in my opinion. Now, like I said with the Tek Lok, one of the great advantages of it is how easy it is to put them on. And it doesn't really matter which belt you have, as long as you got a belt that's between 1.25" to 2 inch. So if you've got your holster in your range bag, you swing by the range at the end of the day to get some practice in, all you gotta do is open it up, slide it over top of your belt, close it, hit the lock on it, ready to rock and roll. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. To take it off, you just have to pull that lock out, squeeze the 2 tabs, and off it comes. Super easy, works great, very versatile, especially for mag pouches and stuff like that. Works great if you need to lend some mag pouches to a friend, or if you just got a couple extra of those in your range bag, you can hand them out in a match or just in your range bag for your own practice. Now, to contrast how easy that is to put on your Tek Lok, putting on a Safariland or the RTI if you don't have a belt attachment on you is a little bit trickier. You're basically limited to duct taping it onto your belt. Proper procedure for this is start with a good wrap first. You got that good solid base. Then attach your holster in your optimal draw position. And give it a couple of good wraps. There's a saying, if something's stupid and it works, it isn't really stupid. Except for this. This is still pretty stupid. The next option is the Safariland QLS, and is one of the most popular with competitive shooters and the tactical crowd alike. This mount is part of a 2-piece system, with one piece that mounts to the holster, and the other piece is your belt slide, molly attachment, or drop leg. These are also made of injection molded plastic and are very strong. Attached by sliding the holster mount into the belt mount, and they are very secure. But they also allow you to remove the holster entirely quite easily by pushing up on these 2 tabs and pulling up. The great thing about this system is that they're easy to swap out holsters on the fly. So if you're in a match and shooting 2 different divisions with 2 different guns, you don't need to have a separate belt or bust out the tools just to swap holsters. We don't sell the belt slides, molly attachments, or drop leg shrouds, so if you order a QLS attachment from us, Keep in mind that you will need to purchase the belt side separate. You only get this piece here. The third option is the RTI Hanger system. It is very similar in function to the QLS, but differs in construction. These mounts are also a two-piece design with a mount and a receiver, but have a machined aluminum mount that attaches to the holster rather than an injection molded piece. There are a couple of different styles of RTI hanger, but we use the more versatile G35 mount. It's a little bit bigger and stronger than some of the smaller versions. This attaches slightly different and is kind of like key mod in appearance and function. There are a variety of different belt mounts, from drop, offset mounts, belt slides, and even MOLLE attachments, but they all attach to the holster in the same way. The holster attaches to the mount by inserting the hanger into the mounting holes on the receiver and pushing down into the keyway. Then the locking button is pushed over to keep it in place. To remove it, pinch the other side of the locking button to release it and push it up. Now you can pull the holster up and out. Now again, we don't sell the belt slides, MOLLE mounts, or drop leg setups, just the holster side attachment. So you will need to purchase the receiver separately. This is very strong and it is pretty handy for swapping out holsters for the reasons mentioned before with the Safariland QLS. But there is also a downside, and that is cost. These are more expensive than a Tek Lok or a QLS. The hanger itself isn't that bad, but the belt mounted receivers are more pricey. You could use this system for mag pouches as well, but for the cost involved, it just doesn't make much sense. The receivers are also bulkier than the Tek Loks or the Safariland ELS, which take up more belt space. But we will talk about magazine pouches in the next video. The last option that we offer is our competition drop and offset mount. This has some features that the others don't, but also lacks some of the versatility of some of the other options. This is a machined aluminum mount made from 6061 aluminum and is designed specifically for 1.5 inch belts. So it is a more dedicated system than others. It attaches by securing the mounting plate to the bracket around your belt. This is a very solid attachment that doesn't allow for any sliding around on your belt. It grabs your belt pretty dang hard. I like to line it up so it's just touching about the 3 o'clock belt loop on 511 pants, which all of us wear when we're shooting anyways, right? So that's what I like to do. One other thing that you can do with this mount and all of our other mounts is attach a little bit of hook and loop or Velcro to the inside. That allows for a little bit more secure grasp on your inner belt. Doesn't sag, doesn't slide around, laterally, holds on pretty tight. This type of mount is much more suited for a specific belt setup where you just run one pistol and you're not planning on swapping between multiple different types of pistol on the same belt. But being that it is more specific and less versatile in its mount means that you can tailor it a bit more to your taste in other ways. It is adjustable in both ride height and cant, so you can set the holster up for a very consistent draw by adjusting to your body so that the grip is in a natural position for a good firing grip every time. One thing that I really like about this mount is that it is very strong in comparison to other drop offset mounts that are out there due to its better mounting hole pattern. Some other mounts have the mounting hardware all spaced very close together in relation to each other, which can cause fatiguing issues in the kydex and eventually lead to breakage. This mounting hole pattern is more widely spaced, as well as has mounting holes lower on the pistol, which helps anchor the holster in place so it doesn't move as much during the draw. This also spreads the load across a greater area, reducing wear and reducing breakages. Okay, so let's say that you've selected one of these competition drop offset mounts that we offer. How do you go and put it on your belt? I've had a couple questions from people because they have an issue with threading their belt through this hole right here. Now, these are set up specifically for 1.5 inch belts only. They don't work on 1 3/4. They don't work on 2 inch belts. And also, they will not thread 1.5 inch belts through there. So what you have to do is disassemble it and take apart these screws and actually attach it around the belt, and then assemble the screws. So we're going to go through that real quick here. Because of the way that this sets, there's 2 screws back here that you can't get at with the holster attached. So if you take the belt side off of the holster side of the attachment, drop it for good measure, of course. Then you have access to all 4 of these screws. Once we've got our 4 screws out, this piece comes apart. Very nicely machined. And then you attach it around the belt. Now, depending on your belt's thickness, this might be a little bit tricky to get all these started, so I would say start all your screws before tightening any one of them down, just like with anything. Then once all 4 are started, you can go ahead and tighten all these down. Try not to strip the screws out. From there, now your mount is attached to your belt very securely. This sucker is not moving sideways at all, which is great because it allows you to very consistently place your belt on your body, and you don't have to worry about this thing moving around throughout the day. Once you get that, what you want to do is flip it over, take your holster mount, to mount this on the holster, and choose which set of mounting holes you want to get the desired ride height. And I'd say play around with this a little bit. You got about 1.5 to almost 2 inches of adjustment here, so play around with what you like. This part's pretty easy. These screws are easy to take off, but the screws that mount it to your belt are a little bit trickier. If you look closely, you can see that these holes are slightly offset from each other and they're elongated, so there's a little bit of play there, and that's how you get your cant adjustment, whether you want it slightly forward or slightly rearward, to line up the angle of the grip of the gun so that you get a very consistent draw every time. We will have a video going more in depth on the details on this mount and how to set this mount up very soon, so stay tuned for that. So now that we've went over the quality mounts that we use, let's talk about another attachment that we no longer use. I'm going to give you a warning here that this section will feature some spicy language, so you got kids in the room, you might want to turn the volume down, put some headphones on, or make them go clean the room. Better yet, from your dry fire area. I know I'm not the only one tired of stepping on Paw Patrol toys or losing mags in a pile of stuffed animals. I've seen your Instagram dry fire videos. This is the DOTS Ultimate Attachment. It has some other names in the past, and it looks very similar to the Tek Lok and even functions similarly. It is a piece of shit. It's made of injection molded plastic and it is strong. It also has a locking mechanism that seems intuitive. We had switched over to these for a while after having a lot of issues with Tek Loks having their lock break. Since then, Tek Lok seems to have improved their Tek Loks and we haven't had any issues with them, which is one of the reasons why we switched back. These work by closing the hinge till it clicks, then pushing the lock on the bottom to the side so the button to release the hinge can't be pressed. The problem is that these locks can come unlocked too easily. It doesn't seem to be an issue when they're new, but it gets worse over time. It also isn't as bad on holsters for right-handed people, but with mag pouches or for left-handed holsters, they are an issue. What happens is, if you bend over, say to pick up your mags or reset a stage, your leg/pants will catch on the lock button and unlock it. And push the button at the same time, releasing the hinge. This is especially an issue on holsters or mag pouches mounted on the 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock position on your body. Now, if you have these things on your belt, it won't necessarily mean that your holster will fall off after this, as the main hinge still keeps it on your belt. Gravity is your friend here. But your holster is now free to flop around and can cause your gun to eject itself or magazines to dump out. It's a neat idea and an attempt at innovation, and it's cheaper than a Tek Lok, so holster companies can make more profit by selling these. But they haven't stood the test of time and are unsuitable for use in our opinion. For anything. They fucking suck. So, if you have one of these, you are in luck because they do fit the exact same mounting hole pattern as the Tek Lok. You can swap them out for a better mounting option very easily. Tek Loks are about $12 on Amazon. Swap these fuckers out. It is imperative for us that our gear performs not only excellently, but consistently excellent, so that you can perform consistently excellent, which is why we suggest one of the other options on this list instead of this one. Now, which attachment you use depends on you. The Tek Lok is the most economical and versatile. The QLS allows for easily swapping out holsters on one belt, is economical, and works well with the ELS belts, which are a pretty popular option for 3-gunners and uspsa guys. The RTI is also a solid mount and allows for easily swapping out holsters or mag pouches, but does cost a bit more in the long run. Our competition drop offset mount is not easy to swap out, but it allows you to fine-tune positioning, which is great for dedicated belts and achieving maximum consistency and efficiency of your draw, as well as is definitely the strongest mount of all these, being machined aluminum rather than a mixture of machined aluminum or injection molded plastic. That rounds out our overview of outside the waistband belt attachments. If you have any questions on specific mounts, please drop a comment below or send an email to me direct at brent@hammerarmament.com. And if you made it this far in this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And stay tuned for part 2, where we go over options for magazine pouches. Thanks a lot for watching, folks. Stay safe, shoot straight.